my without getting too personal, I guess my mother worked for the city for a long time.
Okay.
For a long time. So she was a government employee, still is. And so we used to watch the city council meetings every week all the time. They would put them on, and we would watch them.
There you go.
And people would get up, and so I guess my kind of experience is that it's always been kind of an open floor, and my mom and dad would watch certain days when they would tape it, even
Sure.
like if they weren't able to watch it because there was a big vote going on.
Mm-hmm.
And now, granted, something would get proposed, they would have certain people come up, and you could fight it and say why you thought this way or another, and then each, I think it's aldermen vote on what they think it would be, and then there's 13 of them, and then the mayor or whatever. So, so I guess I've always kind of thought that our system within the city has always been kind of that way. Now, smaller, I think it gets even worse because so little people are really involved with some of those things.
Yeah.
Versus Sheboygan, I think, is right in the middle of that perfect, like, big enough to kind of where people care about these major decisions, and small enough where it doesn't get so corrupt or whatever.
Sure.
Kind of like Milwaukee, where people from Milwaukee aren't going to these things, I guess. Not as much, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess that's a assumption, I guess. But so the other thing I want to say is that I do think that the federal government is just too big to kind of give you that warm, fuzzy, hometown, old school America feel. It's just too. It's a business now. I mean, it's a
that's the problem.
multi-trillion-dollar business. It really is. I mean, you admit that, right?
Totally.
So my thought would be, I've always kind of been more of a state fan. So, you know, our state, I think of the U.S. as more of, I think of it, I think it should be anyway, more of a, the U.S. is more the continent, and all the states would be its own separate country. So that,
All right,
you know, kind of think of it as a European nation sort of thing, where, you know, in Wisconsin, we have our laws. They are this, and this, and this.
Yep.
And, you know, we give you X amount of dollars to the government, to the national government for, you know, protection, for, you know, FBI, you know, some of the stuff that we need, like that the state's not going to do, like, you know, Minnesota, or let's just say Texas, isn't going to be the only state who defends our border on the south or whatever.
Yeah.
So the federal government then would own that part of it, and they would own international laws or whatever, and different things like that. So you know, that's why I guess I think that living in a state like Wisconsin, where I do feel like we have a much more impact.
Yeah.
That we do get that feeling versus, you know, California and New York, where they're just so big that you just wonder what's really going on.
Yeah.
Same with like Chicago and Illinois and stuff with the corruption in there.
Well, and I think too, this kind of leads into another point about politics is all these people get so upset about what they are hearing, but unless you're right there with the bill in your hand, reading it for yourself.
And it's a phone book.
Well,
bill.
right, of course.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like, people can't be like, oh, here's a bill, and, you know.
When was the last time?
They sneak things in there. Do you know that? They like
Of
sneak
course.
things in all the time.
Of
It's just
course.
crazy.
Jeff, you're saying all the reasons why I don't like our government.
I know, but it's just, these are facts, and I just, oh, Jesus.
Jeff's breaking chairs over here.
I just don't know where the. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know where to fix it. I don't know where. I think
And
it's
that's
such
the
a
thing.
It's a 180-degree switch.
I'm not going to sit there and beller online and whine about this stuff, but I am also not going to go, I can't do anything about it, so I'm just going to not do anything about it. You know, did you really break that chair? I think so. Bro! So, and what I was going to say before, wow. What I was going to say before was I cannot get over, and this is all major news sources in general. You cannot listen to one and say, that's what's going on. I'm going to base my information on
Isn't the
that.
big thing in like what, fake news or
Fake news?
not fake news, but what's that? Facts, something facts.
Well, it's fact check.
No, there's
I
some,
don't know what
there's some whatever. But yeah, I think
But I have a hard time too, because that's the other thing too. I look at, I have a lot of friends on both sides or random sides or not even in this country who, you know, again, I open up my Facebook and it's like a giant editorial / letter to the editor / news bank.
Alternative facts. That's what they're saying.
Okay. All right.
That's like this big, like, meme almost thing going around.
See, and I know, like, right now, to get very topical, Donald Trump and company are literally like, that's not what was said. That's coming out of your mouth, not there. You know, and that's bullshit.
The Saturday Night Live skit is really
dumb.
funny.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny.
But that's bullshit. But at the same time, our news sources are not doing any better of a job.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to pull in. You cannot just say, "Okay, I'm just going to read this one story, and that's the information."
Yeah, and that's unfortunately what people do.
I know. You have to read so many different links and this, that, and the other thing, and you have to talk to different people to get their opinions and their
or
views.
get the actual video of watching them do it, so
right.
you can hear.
So you can actually hear what's going on,
Yep.
and then make a decision. So we as Americans cannot just go online and just barf out all of our opinions. We have to do the homework behind it to be legitimate is basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, that's another big thing, that if we all just took five more seconds, it would actually be more like 2 more hours. But just to get a little bit more information based on the subject that you're researching, then yes, please do go on a rant, get in an argument with someone. But there too, once you're done, be like, hey, thank you very much for your view on that. You know, I pity your life and I hope you're well. But you're also not just saying, you know, go fuck yourself. You know, you're not worth being on this planet. You know.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how it goes.
Yeah. We got shit. We got baggage here in America. But also, that being said, too, we got it pretty damn fucking good here in America.
Yeah. I'm more of that camp. Like, in the end, it'll all be okay. Like, it has to be. Either it gets worse to the point where it breaks, and it's all, you know, it's a brand new...
Which it almost did back in the 1800s. Thank you, Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, sure, okay. Well, I think he gets too much credit for the whole slavery thing, personally, but...
Well, I don't think it's slavery. I mean, sure, that was cool that happened. I mean, it's very cool. I'm not just brushing that aside. I mean, the whole, like, getting the country, like, fight that war out, you know, let each side. It was almost like everyone was like, oh, this is going to be a couple months. We're going to be done. Abraham Lincoln's like, I hope so, but nope. You know, fight it out. Let's see what actually happens here.
Yeah,
so
winner take all.
Yeah.
You with the Facebook post is what I was going to say, is that the other thing is that people who post only one side of it over and over again, two things. I become numb to you eventually. Like, your posts don't matter. When I see you pop up, I immediately disregard everything you have to say.
Just scroll faster.
You know, because, you know, and then it's these satirical comments or like the title of it where he's like somebody will just write ha ha ha, and it's like, why can't you write like, oh, this is what I thought was interesting, you know, while I disagree or blah blah, and create some intelligent conversation about it. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is that, again, make sure you know what you're posting, okay? Like, to Joe's point, if you find some story, spend let's say 5 or 10 minutes fact checking yourself, just to make sure you don't look like an idiot on Facebook. Because
there is someone out there who is doing that.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of find this whole thing with Donald Trump and a lot of his people, that they're spouting off these things, and then people are just turning around and being like, nope. And then it's just like, I mean, at what point does somebody just be like, hey, buddy, let's just pump the brakes a little bit.
Someone needs to take Twitter away from the guy.
I know.
Just totally take it away.
Like, and I feel bad, like, he posted something on Twitter or whatever, and this random girl from Paris, because I don't know if you heard that they had another, I don't want to say terrorist attack, because it wasn't a terrorist attack.
Somebody stabbed some people, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, with a machete, I think he had, whatever. But he went after an officer, like a police officer, I'm guessing. The other cop shot him and detained him, and then they held everybody there because they wanted to question everybody just to make sure everything was safe or whatever. And so Donald Trump posts something about deadly terrorists holding hostages or whatever, and the girl's like, no. It's like it was, but it was good because they posted that then too. So then I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump's not my reliable news source. I
course,
get that.
yeah.
But I just think it's funny now that it's almost this backlash against fake news and alternative facts and whatnot, where people are coming forward with like, no, this is what's really happening. And,
Sure.
there is an emphasis on that, which I think is, like we talked about earlier, getting to the breaking point, and then you get something good out of it.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
going back to what we first talked about.
Right. And I think if there's anything out of this whole entire conversation that I sort of wanted to get out of it was the whole idea that, yes, you can have a conversation with someone else, and you don't have to completely lock them in a cage in your brain and say they're not worth my time. You will learn something from someone else, whether it's useless information or not. I mean, that's why we're stuck in this situation right now, is because someone's afraid of getting their pride hurt. I mean, just before I said something that was probably a little bit outrageous about, an average person holding a position, and Jeff very eloquently,
I don't know about that.
explained his side. And honestly, I mean, as I'm listening, because I'm listening to him, not with the intent to respond, but the intent to listen to him, I was like, okay, wow, all right, that was a little off there, but you also, at the end of the day, understood what I was saying, right?
I get what you're coming from.
So, I mean,
it has to be give and take.
yeah. It's not, you guys, this is not black and white, especially nowadays. It is the last thing we have here is black and white, which again drives me absolutely batshit crazy that we have just a right and a left side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too much gray out there for us to all be so polarizing.
Yeah.
So,
My one thing, if we're going to do that, would be the idea that we can't be on separate sides and not even try to work together.
Yeah, that's another huge thing.
Just try to listen to the other sides, because I think I've been through this day seminar thing where they talk about when you have a conflict and you're trying to resolve it, you start the conversation with, well, I feel like, or from my perspective, this is how I feel and how I see things.
Sure.
And so that the other person could at least try to understand and comprehend of, you may feel this way because of this, and I think a lot of that comes from how we were raised, where we were raised, what our belief systems are, because sometimes religion comes into play and all that stuff. And, if I say, every time I go to the grocery store, there's this big purple dinosaur that punches me in the face. If I see Barney on TV,
you're not going to like him.
I'm not going to like Barney. And people are like, why don't you like Barney? That's not fair. He's just a big animal. I'm like, well, every time I went to this grocery store, you know what I mean? And so that's, I think people right away jump and say, well, that's all right. You don't like Barney. I don't like you. I like Barney. And it's like, well, but this is why. I mean, I was a little kid. I got frightened or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And this is why. Or I was brainwashed into thinking this, that, or the other thing with my, I don't want to say brainwashed because that's how I feel, but that's not really 100% politically correct.
Right.
But
there too, you got to be politically correct, of course.
Well, I tend to offend people. I realize that. I'm really good on this show. Otherwise, if you know me, I'm saying things just to personally piss you off on purpose.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where, like, even I'm one that I don't like what's going on, but at the same time, I go on Facebook and sometimes it's like, I agree with some things that are happening and some things that aren't, like, I don't want any more terrorists in our country. I'm with that. Okay. Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, we maybe took it a little too far, But then I read something that it's only for this, that, or the other thing. And so the ban isn't as bad as they were making it sound. And, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like trying to get everything I can. But when I do read something, it's either all the way on the left or all the way on the right.
Right.
And
exactly.
I don't even know who to trust. Like you said, it's Huffington Compost. And I know I'm a CNN guy, but I know I read their stuff and I'm like, this is so slanted. Even I have a hard time reading it, And I never go to Fox News just because I know that but I'll go on their website and just read the headlines, and you put them next to CNN's, and it's like the same story, just completely different, And
completely different.
Yeah.
And it's what's so disheartening about this whole thing. But at the end of the day, it will come down to like what Jeff and I were talking about, where Jeff's like, how are you going to fix this? Well, I'll tell you how. It's the people on the floor. on the ground floor, just like I said episodes ago. We are the only ones who are going to work together to make any type of change. I'm not even saying a major change. I'm just saying let's fucking get along.
Yeah.
Let's start working together again, okay?
You got to find. I mean, in the end, in the end, life isn't gonna be always peachy cream.
No.
You're gonna have some bad times. You're gonna have some good times.
Yeah.
And so if things don't go your way, you can't. That's my big thing. Like, we can't just pout about it and just storm the streets. That's not how we do it.
No.
And if to Joe's point, I mean, Joe's much more optimistic than I am, and so I can kind of appreciate that. But I appreciate that with you because
Sure.
it is about getting petitions and writing your congressman or whatever senator. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is about that. That's what the system's about. And you may not think it works, but I know I said I don't have a lot of time, but 2 or 3 minutes of my time to write an email or voice my concern in a phone call, and when doing it, please try to sound intelligent and coherent and not like a crazy person, because those opinions probably get brushed aside or get made fun of. When people are listening to them. We got to come out of this eventually, and the way people are going about it, I think, is just and again, I don't want to seem like we aren't passionate about it. I hope this is coming off as passionate, but I mean, we're not, dumping our chests in the street passionate about it. Which
we have
some
not
people
talked
are.
about it because we get passionate. I mean, we on this show probably could talk a lot more about this, but
Sure.
we don't want to. We don't. There's so many other great things we could be talking about. Random useless
Funny things,
Yeah.
lighthearted, and we want people to come here and have a good time and have some intelligent, minus the news stories, conversation.
Hey man, people do it. I don't prompt these things.
But and you know what? Maybe people really like the politics thing, and it has a lot of views and whatnot, and we can talk
bring
about
it
it
up
every
a little
once in a while.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, we're two Midwest guys, and we don't have a lot of racial diversity
for
between
like
the two.
6 months out of the year, guys.
Yeah,
You don't
we don't know what to
understand.
do. And I know we come from kind of the same backgrounds, and we have the same. We're both white guys, so we don't have a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
Old wooden ship. But I love that line. But it's. I hope we come across in the right way.
Yeah.
And
even if we don't, well, I mean, it's probably your problem, not ours.
I don't necessarily agree with that statement. If you disagree with us, I'd like you to tell me.
Yeah, let us
why.
know, because I'll tell you right now, I'm going to listen to you with an open mind.
Yeah,
I
will for sure read whatever you send us. For
and
sure.
not only that, but I'll probably comment on it, not in a like, oh god, look what this fucktard said. No, I'm going to be like, all right, this person brings up pretty legitimate, and it could be on cheese curds for all I care.
And if you write to us, as long as it's intelligent, we will read it off. Even if it is something that we don't agree with, and we will comment on it. I mean, it's our podcast; we can do what we want. But we have Joe and I are kind of the same, yet we are different in a lot of it, and that's the full spectrum of politics.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I'm quite passionate when I decide to get passionate. Yeah. So like with these political things, a lot of times I'll like call someone to be like, get me off the fucking ledge, man. And they'll be like, so you woke up this morning, right? And like, how much does this matter? But anyways, I'll call a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, Zach. He works at the state capitol here in Wisconsin.
I think you say that every podcast.
Hey,
my friend Zach, he works at the state capitol.
Yeah, he's pretty much a big deal. But I'll sit there and just bitch about America. Like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing it. And he goes, all right, you done? And they'd be like, okay, so we've got this, it's going for us. We got this, it's going for us. We got this, it's going for us. And I'm like, okay, this is why I call you, because you know what the hell's going on.
I agree.
So.
I mean, I wish they would come out with like positive things that Trump's doing. I wish that they would do that, because
there's
all I do is
somebody's listening and be like, he doesn't do anything positive.
And then there's somebody like, everything he's done is positive.
This is awesome.
I wish there was like I'm sure there is a website out there, but a reputable news source, a news source that would come out and be like, all right, well, these are the things he's done, and these are positive things, and because my wife's an accountant, and so she's signing a bunch of tax laws into going.
Oh boy!
And she's like, I don't know what's going to happen, because it's funny because he's going to what she can get on and talk about, and I don't want to have a huge thing about this, but essentially he's going to cut taxes, but then cut tax breaks. So essentially we're all going to pay the same anyway. And so it just depends on how much it all comes out of the same thing. So instead of you'll pay less taxes, but you won't get the tax rate of like having a kid, or you won't get the tax break of this, that, or the other thing. So that $1,000 you save in your taxes, you have to pay it back in because you don't get that tax break. And so essentially it all kind of even out the same.
It's a wash.
Yeah, it's a wash essentially.
Yeah.
But what it does is it hurts the people who don't have tax breaks. So if you have like a whole bunch of kids, you're not going to get all those. I'm not saying it's a kid tax break, but I'm just saying like the people who rely on tax breaks more probably won't have as many, and so the people who just kind of do their own thing probably will get more money. But in the end, I guess it just kind of all washes out.
It's kind of funny. I read, because of course there are these things called memes, and we all read them every day. But it was something to the effect of, I think it was posted by Anonymous, like, "Oh, I can't wait for I can't wait for the government to pay me," or whatever. And it was like,
"Oh, that's right, yeah.
Dumbass, government's not paying you. You paid too much to begin with, and you're just getting your money back." Is pretty much all.
Yeah.
So,
and my wife and I go through that every year because we're big fans of never having to save up money and pay in. So we always have low deductibles.
Okay.
And then they take all our money, and we don't make any interest on it, and then they give it back to us at the end of the year. And to us, it feels like Christmas, but in the end, it's a psychological thing, like you said, and you feel like you're getting paid. But I know it was my sister. One year she was not getting taxes withheld from her paychecks and just didn't plan for it. And all of a sudden she got a bill for a couple $1,000s, and it was just like,
I can't pay this.
what am I gonna do? You know?
Oh my God.
So because she was doing freelance, I don't know what she was doing. So it was one of those things where, like, my wife and I are so scared of that.
Oh, sure.
Where we're just like, you know what? We'll do this. And we'll be fine. I don't care. And you know what? If we got all that money, all we do is blow it on stupid stuff. Yeah. Shopkins, probably. I just.
God bless America.
I gotta say, just to make it a little more lighthearted.
God bless America.
I'm on the Shopkins train.
Oh my God.
So
here we go.
The house
Shopkins
is full
again.
of Shopkins.
We're gonna have a Shopkins episode, ladies and gentlemen.
I need to get now. Season 7 came out now, so now I got to start collecting all these damn ones now. It's just a vicious cycle.
And you know tax returns are coming.
$18,000 of Shopkins.
Oh my God!
They make the same company makes ones for boys now. They're kind of like gross ones. So they're
serious?
gross Shopkins. I think they're called. They're Grosskins or something like that.
Is it like the gross Jelly Bellies or something? Like
kind of like
here's a booger. Like
no, it's like moldy something or other, and it's like nasty ketchup bottle. You know, where it's got all the crud around it. And
oh my God!
Yeah, and so we're buying them.
I'm a guy.
We're buying them for my kid, and I'm just like, it's just all I can think of is all the other money I got to buy now to get the rest of them and shit.
No.
So. Yeah.
Wow.
If you're out there and you work for Moose Company, whatever makes these, I just might as well just send you my paycheck is how it should work. You just send me what I need. So.
And they're like, excellent.
Yes. Corporate America.
Excellent.
Actually, I think they're from Australia. So.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
We are one global economy now.
All right.
Anyways.
So let's end it on that.
Yeah. No, but thank you all. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Again, we have our own views, but that doesn't mean we're going to shut you out. And also, hopefully, we don't talk about politics every day. Because honestly, there's a reason people don't like it. Because we don't talk about cool things. We don't talk about, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
I hope you listen and hope you gain something out of it, or at least you think of something a little bit differently.
Right. But if not, well, then good luck. Keep chugging along.
Yeah.
So long.
I know you're listening to this already on YouTube. So if you could kindly, if you haven't already, subscribe, get the notifications if you'd prefer. And it'd be great if you could like and then comment on the video if you feel as though there should be something said.
Or dislike it.
Too.
Either way.
Do we even have any dislikes?
No, I don't even know if we have a like.
We have a couple likes. I know that one video had 2 likes.
Wonderful.
It's probably my wife and your girlfriend.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll take it.
The other thing is you can reach us at Facebook on Friday nights with Jeff and Joe.
Yeah, should probably get that changed.
No, the YouTube already changed it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Good.
because the Facebook's already right.
Yeah.
So for those of you wondering what we're talking about, it used to be Friday night.
There was an S discrepancy.
There was a Friday night with Jeff and Joe. Now it's Friday nights with Jeff and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's big news
we're
for
all
you
on the
guys out
same
there,
page.
but
All on the same page.
But for us, we were like, we should probably make it the same.
Yeah.
So that is now the same. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you for bringing the podcast topic up.
Yeah, and
I didn't
thanks
think I'd
for-
get so passionate, but when you said that really dumb thing, I had to jump in.
It's pretty normal. Yeah. And
No.
thank you very much for that.
It's one of those things where I don't have the views, but I can. It's interesting because once you get involved, it just starts flowing.
Well, yeah.
you know?
Once an idea is brought to the forefront of your brain, then you're like, I do have an opinion on that. you know?
Everybody has an opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It'd be interesting.
I
to
just
get
do
some,
way too much reading of stupid people.
Yeah, it is. It's become very. Facebook is now either political stuff or murder stuff.
Yeah, for you. Yeah.
For all the other stuff I listen to.
I've often wondered, like, let's say you could get, because when Facebook came around for us, at least I was just getting into college. It was literally, I just graduated high school and I was just coming into college.
Okay.
And, we've seen Facebook morph from then till now. And, like, it used to be the party days. And now, like, everyone was getting married. And now everyone's having kids. And so
Now it's parents,
Right.
moms and dads.
yeah.
And stuff.
So what if you could get into, like, the Facebook account of, like, a middle schooler or a high schooler?
Yeah.
I wonder how different that would be. Like, what would it be? Would just people dabbing all day long, or like?
You mean
doing
so
whip
right
and
now,
nanny?
middle schoolers?
Yeah, like just all of a sudden you're in some middle. Because for me, it's all politics, parents, and
No,
that's
it's
about it.
I've got a cousin who's in middle school. No,
Okay.
just in high school now, I think. Anyways, he's always posting really dumb stuff, just like dumb
That's
stuff
what
that
I
I don't
wonder, like-
understand. Like,
Well, would I be like,
he's
awesome, this is refreshing, or like, wow, this is way stupider than anything?
It's stupider than you've ever. Yeah, you think politics is bad? See, like he. I'm not gonna say his name. But
Give him a shout out. Maybe he'll listen to it.
No, I don't think so. He'll post something and he's like, "This is so funny," and I'm just like, "What the heck? This is so bad." And then, or like, and it's like a lot, and all of them are a bunch of little white guys,
of course,
and they're all
yeah.
acting all thuggish and all this other stuff, and it's just like,
No.
no. And then every once in a while, his mom will tag him in a picture. It's like, Mom, it's
Mom,
like,
I'm badass.
He's like, undo. How do I undo this? It's just so funny. I'm trying to think, and then I shouldn't say. There's another one. She's a girl, and it's all selfies. Like it's all selfies, and then those quotes. It's like a picture, and then it's like a field or something, and it's like, "Love is
so
but a
glad-
butterfly," because it morphs into. It's just like, God. Where did they find these things?
Okay, I'm
I
glad
get it.
I'm through that stage.
It's really
I don't have
bad.
to do that anymore.
It's so bad.
Wow.
So,
On a weird note, just to end this podcast, 'cause I thought we were already going to do that, but
we've been ending this podcast for 5 minutes.
for 10 minutes. Miranda called me on my way here, and I'm just going to say this just as a general note for anyone out there. Just be vigilant. There's a weird vehicle that's been driving around where we record and then also like by our house. So like on my way home, she was like, "Can you lock the side door?" And I'm like, because I listen to a lot of really like scary things too. Kind of like Jeffrey, he watches all the murder mystery stuff. And right away my brain goes, "Oh my God, dude, someone tried to break in," But really, I mean,
I would have the
there's-
cops rolled up on that guy.
I honestly, I wonder if someone will, because I do believe they have been informed.
I thought
of
you
the
would have maybe
vehicle.
your the guy who owns this building.
Yeah,
might
yeah.
have. Yeah.
I think that from what I understand, I think that's the next step. So
Why not? It's just a check. What's the difference?
He's been there for 2 days.
and
now.
if he's not doing anything weird, then just move on.
Yeah,
but if
move
he
on,
is,
move on,
I want to find the body in the back of his van.
Oh God.
Okay?
Yeah. So it
Because
was just really weird, and I don't know.
don't get murdered is what Joe's trying to say.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
Stay healthy. We need listeners. We need people to like and subscribe and share the shit. So,
That's funny.
oh boy. Well, hey, thank you all very much for jumping on and listening to us.
Thank you.
This, as always, this is all the random, useless info you want to know. It's Friday Nights with
Jeff,
and Joe. See you next time.
don't get murdered.
Oh God.